It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
Financial independence.
The way that we say this, and we tell clients ultimately, because most clients don't come and see us and say, hey, I want to work with you guys so that I can retire. That's never what they say. They always say, I want to use my money so that I can eventually be at the point where I can do what I want, when I want to do it, the way that I want to do it. That's what we're ultimately looking for.
You're dominating that word want. That, if you think about it, that's what you do. When you can do what you want, when you want, and how you want, you are dominating that word want. Right. I mean, it really is one of those things. And this is when, if you think about it, you've got your current needs, you've got your future needs all taken care of. It's just automatic. You don't have to think about it. You've got a plan for it all. This is financial freedom. This is financial independence. Pretty powerful stuff. And how many people actually get to do this?
Yeah.
I thought this was interesting. Daniel put together some stats for us. I was saddened when I saw that 66% of the U.S. population would probably quit their job immediately.
So meaning like a lot of folks feel so much like they're not this financial freedom. They go to a job they don't want to be in because they feel like they have to.
53% of people are not actively, they don't consider themselves actively engaged at their workplace, meaning that they're going there out of obligation more than waking up and wanting to go to work.
And we talk about this all the time, Brian. I mean, we say here at the office, we spend more time with our work family just because of the hours and stuff than we get to spend at home with wives. So I can't imagine having to do something every day. It probably does feel like you're trapped if you're not actually doing something you love. And so I think that's why what financial freedom does, it allows you to put the ball back in your control.
So let's talk about traps.
Yep.
Because traps, not knowing what your why is or your purpose is, because this is one of those things. I do want you, if you get to financial freedom, this is one of those things, what is it, William Wallace?
Yeah.
He's screaming out freedom.
You're going to do it?
No.
You're going to do it? Who wants to?
I thought that was you. You're supposed to scream it out. You're the...
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
You do want to avoid the Groundhog Day moment, the Bill Murray doing things over and over again. Daniel had a great gift from SpongeBob that I think we were worried about copyright or trademark or something, but we didn't. But it was spectacular. Write us and we might be able to share the link to you, but we couldn't put it up here. But it is one of those things where you need to know what your why is, so that you're just not stuck in this cycle of being miserable. Also, avoid go-kart math. A lot of people. A huge one. I will tell you, I think with the FIRE movement, y'all did a whole show on the FIRE movement. Be careful. And do y'all know what go-kart math is? Just so you know, go-kart math, that's a money guyism. It's just, I want to give y'all a real quick overview of what that means. When I was a young lad, a young boy.
Just a wee lad.
I knew that my dad made about $30,000 a year.
Okay.
I wanted a go-kart so bad.
As all young men do.
About $500. So in my little boy brain, I was like, my dad could afford to buy me 60 go-karts. All I want is one.
You just want one. You were a good son.
I'm like, man, he is being so mean to me for not buying me that one go-kart. But that's go-kart math because I have oversimplified, not realizing my dad had a mortgage. My dad had to pay taxes. My dad, had to provide for the family with my mom. By the way, my mom was working too. It's just that I make the example because I knew dad made. I probably didn't know what mom made, but like I said, making horrible decisions all the way around. But that is go-kart math. And I think a lot of people will do that. They'll think, if I can just save to $1 million, I can quit working at 30 years old.
We've heard even worse, where it doesn't even matter what the number is. If I can just get to where I can draw Social Security, 62, I'm retired. I'm drawing my Social Security. Without actually measuring and seeing if they can actually afford retirement, in their head, they've done that go-kart math. Well, as soon as this starts, I can stop working. When you leave the workforce, you might not be able to get back into it. Yeah. So you want to make sure before you decide to jump ship, you know that 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 you can do it.
I always say measure twice, cut once. I think when you're talking about actually leaving the workforce where you're not guaranteed you'll ever make that level of income again, you might want to measure 10 times.
I agree.
I mean, it 100%. Really is. And then, Bo, this is something, you say this better, so I don't want to steal it from you. You talk about, it's kind of like that whole of where you're going and why. Yeah. So what's the last point?
We ask all the time when people come to us like, I'm retiring in 4 years, 432 days, and 16 hours. I'm like, oh, wow, okay. What are you going to do then? Yep. And I'm always amazed when I get the answer, oh, well, I don't know. We all have such a clear picture of that thing that it is that we're retiring from. And very often we forget to think about what is it retiring to. And we did a great show with Fritz Gilbert where we talked about, getting to retirement is really important. Getting through retirement is equally as important. So don't, when you get to this financial level of success, this financial freedom point, you think, okay, I'm going to exit now, without knowing what your exit strategy is. What's the thing you're going to do next?
Know what you're traveling to, the
That's
destination of your journeys, because I think so many people put so much time into the preparation that then they get to the actual graduation point and they don't even know what they're there for.
That's
so
right.
they'll definitely understand that. So let's flip the script and talk about indications of success for financial freedom. This is definitely the level of wealth where most people are aspiring to reach. They want to get there. This is probably the biggest part of the American dream. But you actually need to know what the plan of action that you're going for. Does your army of dollar bills work hard enough to completely cover all of your living expenses? This is when I hear people talk about passive income. That is the big key word that you see in all FIRE conversations. You see it in people approaching retirement. They talk about passive income. They basically want to know, do we have enough assets that are generating income or cash flow that it out-earns what I need to for my cash flow and monthly expenses? So make sure you know how those things work. This is what you're aspiring to. And by the way, it doesn't have to be some crazy complicated passive strategy where you've buying a bunch of rental properties or other things. I mean, you can buy, real estate mutual funds, real estate ETFs. You can buy, just the broad market as a whole generates dividend yields of around 2.5%, 2 to 2.5%, depending upon the valuation of the S&P at the time. There's all kind of ways to create passive income that will generate and you can replenish it.
And then another indicator of success at this level is you've actually stress tested your plan. It's real easy to think, okay, well, I have $1 million, and if I can make 10%, I can live off $100,000. One, that's a pretty aggressive withdrawal rate on your portfolio. And two, that might not be able to stand the weather of the market. To really be in financial freedom, you kind of have already stress tested your plan. You know that this thing that I have in place is going to allow me to do the things I want to do and be where I want to be in retirement or in my financial freedom segment.
Let me give you one more indication of success. We always love to give the Millionaire Next Door formula. That's where you take your income times your age divided by 10.
That's right.
And if you want to do that, did I get the formula right?
No, that's right.
Eyes got really big.
I'm on the edge of my seat. It's so good.
So then the other part is if you're under 40 years of age, because realize we know.
That's what I was looking at. I was wondering if you were going to say it.
I'm going to let you share it because you're the one brilliant brainchild of this thing. For years, when I give the Millionaire Next Door formula, I get so many trolls crawl out of the bridges and they go, Brian, I'm 26 years old. There's no way that I'll ever, that formula is silly. And they're right. There is no way that a 32-year-old, a 35-year-old, just unless you have extreme circumstances, can ever fulfill the Millionaire Next Door formula of, taking your age times your income, dividing it by 10. And the reason is, let me give you the justification. The average millionaire doesn't reach millionaire status until their 50s.
Yeah, so
the formula is broken for 20 and 30-year-olds.
Yeah, it's just a hard
So what
thing.
did you do? You came up with a brilliant fix. So tell them the fix to the formula.
Yeah, so here's what we said. This is our money guy revision to the Millionaire Next Door formula. Take your age times your income divided by 10 plus the number of years you have until retirement. So
until 40.
Until 40. Sorry, until 40. So if you are 31 years old, your denominator, the thing you divide by, would be 10 plus 9, because you have 9 years until you turn 40. You're going to be amazed at how much closer that number gets to where you ought to be. And so if you're looking for indicators of success, when you calculate that, right, and whatever that number is, if you are below that, you're considered an under-accumulator of wealth. If you are at that number, you are considered an average accumulator of wealth. If you really want to be at the financial freedom point and where we think you ought to be, then you want to be a PAW, which is 2 times the number you calculated.
Prodigious
accumulator of wealth.
I just wanted to say the word prodigious.
Did you see how we did? I liked how we did that.
I like that. Paw. It's like, when you have your initials kind of spell a word. I like that. Prodigious accumulator of wealth. That's a great thing. But I love the formula because really that does fix it. Now my 23-year-olds can use the formula. My 39-year-olds can use the formula. It works for everybody.